Welcome to MRU e-learning powered by Malaradi University. Myself, N. Kavya, Assistant Professor from Department of Data Science, School of Engineering, Malaradi University. I would like to give an overview of foundations of cryptography, security attacks and defense strategies. So, why cryptography matters today? So, basically a data breach prevention. So, in order to, if the attacker hacks the data, it cannot be in a readable format. So, using the cryptography, it is possible. And private communications, we have a WhatsApp messenger where end-to-end encryption takes place, where the sender and the receiver can only see the messages. Coming to the national defense. So, entirely our national security infrastructure is being protected using the concept of cryptography in the military and everywhere. Coming to the financial security, where we have the secure UPI transactions, online banking systems, as well as the Aadhaar data systems, where we use a biometric, where we use PIN, where we use OTP, everywhere the concept of cryptography comes into the picture. So what is meant by cryptography? Cryptography is a science of protecting the sensitive information. So it will be transforming the readable data into an unreadable data. That is transforming a readable text into unreadable text, which is plain text into the cipher text. While transforming, it will ensure confidentiality, integrity and authenticity. What is meant by confidentiality? Ensuring the privacy. What is meant by integrity? It will not allow us to alter the data, and also authenticity. So identity, it will be verifying the identity. And also using the concept of cryptography, we can secure the data while it is being stored, while it is being processed and while it is being transmitted. Coming to the historical evolution of the cryptography, we have a Caesar cipher technique, which is an ancient technique. From there, now it was to modern advanced encryption standard RSA and ACC algorithms. What are the fundamental concepts in the cryptography? Plain text, ciphertext, encryption and decryption, keys and ciphers, algorithms, key space and cryptanalysis. Plain text and ciphertext. Again comes the concept of readable data and unreadable data. Readable data is your plain text and unreadable data is your ciphertext. And the process of converting the readable data into unreadable data is the process of encryption. So decryption, again taking that unreadable data and again converting that unreadable data into readable data is your process of decryption. Keys and ciphers. So we have some parameters in order to perform encryption. Those are your public key, private key, and also some methods. Public key is a key which is shared by everyone. Private key is an individual key. Coming to the algorithms, we have some step-by-step mathematical procedures to perform and generate the ciphertext. Key space. So all the key combinations will be used in an encryption system. The bigger the key size, stronger the security will be. Coming to the cryptanalysis, it is just an art of breaking encryption systems. Coming to the plain text and ciphertext, in that what are the encryption methods? So first, plain text is the ordinary readable text before the encryption or after the decryption, and ciphertext is the encrypted text that is encrypted with a proper key, and this process is called as the encryption. And we have two types of encryption methods. Those are your substitution and transposition. You can observe here in the substitution, the plain text is good dog. So the ciphertext is like PLLXXLP. Only the letters are being replaced. So wherever the letter O is coming, it is replacing with L. Wherever the letter G is coming, it is replacing with P. Wherever the letter D is coming, it is replacing with X. We are assigning some alphabets to some alphabets and replacing those alphabets. That is your concept of substitution. Coming to the transposition. Here, we have a plain text good dog. So here the ciphertext is like DGO, GDOO. Only the letters have been jumbled. That is the concept of transposition. That is like rearranging the alphabets by maintaining the original characters. So, what are the three pillars of the security approaches? Security as a prevention, security as a protection, security as a resilience. So, security as a prevention. Proactively, you need to address the root causes and eliminate the threats before they occur. That is the concept of security as prevention. You should not wait till the threat occurs. Before that only we will be identifying the threat and we will be preventing the threat from our system. Security as protection. Here, we will be actively controlling our system by installing the firewalls and IDS, all those things into your system so that you can protect your system from the attackers as well as the threats. Security as resilience. So here, this will majorly focus on the business continuity as well as the disaster recovery planning. The cyber attack has been happened to your system even though the system will be working without stopping the services. The business continuity will be taken place. After the disaster recovery, it will bounce back. That is considered as the security as resilience. Coming to the key security terminologies, those are your confidentiality, availability, authorization, integrity, authentication, and non-repetition. What is confidentiality? Maintaining the privacy of the information, preventing the unauthorized access to the sensitive information. What is availability? Availability is nothing but guaranteeing the data access to all the legitimate users whenever required. And then authorization. So, authorization means granting appropriate access permissions and privileges, whether he or she is authorized to use this particular service or not, checking the identity. Integrity. In the integrity, the data will be remained unaltered. No tampering of the data takes place. The data, whatever sent by the receiver sent by the sender will be as it is received by the receiver. Then you can say that the integrity of the data has been maintained. Authentication, verifying the identity of the users and the systems. And non-repudiation, there should not be any sender can't deny by sending the messages. There should not be any sender they deny by sending the messages. Now, difference between authentication and authorization. Every authenticated user cannot be an authorized user. You are authenticated to this particular system, but you might not be authorized to access that particular service. That is the difference between the authentication and authorization. Coming to the security attacks. There are two types of security attacks: passive attacks and active attacks. Passive attacks can be called as a silent threats. Here, there will be no altering of the messages, no altering of the system resources, no damage occurs. Only just the observation takes place in your passive attacks. The monitoring takes place. Coming to the active attacks, there will be many aggressive attempts to modify your data, to modify your data streams, to alter your system resources, and also to disrupt your operations, and also to crash your server. Many aggressive operations takes place in the active attacks. Coming to the types of the passive attacks, a release of message contents and traffic analysis. In the release of message contents, you can observe here is a Bob who is your sender and Alice is your receiver. Now, we are considering Darth as the intruder or the attacker, and the Bob is sending the message to Alice. Darth is sitting in the middle of the network and he is reading the content that is sent by the Bob to the Alice. He is just reading the content. So if you are sending some username, password of any banking transaction or whatever, he will be just keeping a note of the username and note of the password, whatever the emails, everything will be read by the Darth. Coming to the traffic analysis, here close monitoring will be taken place on the communication pattern. They will not read the messages, they will just observe the pattern. So suppose if we take a military example, so in the military, with which command center it is communicating and how large the message is, how many command centers are active, and is there any channel which is more active. If the channel is more active, then there is a chance of submission to begin. In this way, traffic analysis is majorly about the observation of the communication pattern, with whom you are communicating, how many times you are communicating, up to what extent you are communicating, how long the message length. All those will be coming under the picture of traffic analysis. Whereas in the release of message contents, they will just read all the contents that are being sent from the sender to the receiver and they will just make a note of it. One point to be noted here is there is no alteration of the message, no alteration of the system resources, only thing observation of the pattern and reading the messages takes place in the passive attacks. That is the reason these are considered as the silent threats. Coming to the active attacks. In the active attacks, these are called as direct threats. We have masquerade, message modification, replay, denial of service. What is meant by masquerade? Impersonating the legitimate user or a system to gain the unauthorized privileges. So, one entity is pretending to be the another, to be like the another entity. So, in the masquerade, if we consider any real-time example, like you are receiving an email from the bank to verify your email details. So the user will click on the link and he will enter his username and the password. Then the attacker will take the username and password and he will access your payments, all those things. That is your concept of masquerade. Coming to the replay. Here, the original data which is transmitted, that is being captured, and then later on we will be using this original transmitted data and replaying it in an unauthorized manner. So any example if we take in this is like we have a request in a UPI to pay 500 rupees. So we have paid. Now what the attacker will do is he will consider the encrypted packet format and he will use that encrypted packet format later on and send the request to the bank server. The bank server pretends that this is the original packet and it will process the request by deducting the amount from the bank server. This is how the replay attack takes place. Coming to the message modification. Here, the complete messages will be altered and also the delivery of the messages will be delayed. And also, this will lead to the misleading results. So, suppose we have huge business where we send a message to the financial department that send 50,000 rupees to the supplier A. Now the attacker will come into the picture and he will send 5 lakhs to the supplier A. The minute changes will be taken place so that the a legitimate user may not recognize the minute changes. And then the denial of the service. Here, the complete network will be disrupted, overloaded, flooded with n number of requests. So, any real-time example, if we consider is like e-commerce platform. Where we have a festival sale in the e-commerce platform, the competitor of this e-commerce platform will attack the denial of the service, like will use the denial of the service and stop the sale. Like he will be using millions of systems and he will be sending multiple requests to the network, and he will make the server slow down, and he will not allow the page to move on, so that the customers will leave and they will not order anything. That is your denial of service. If multiple millions of systems or hundreds of systems will be using, if you are using hundreds of systems in this denial of the service attack, then it is called as a distributed denial of service, where multiple networks will be used to make your server crash. Coming to the understanding of the security threats, we have hackers as well as the intruders. So what the hackers will do is they will penetrate into the system without causing any damage. Just they want the access to your system. They will not cause any damage to your system. They will grab your data. Coming to the intruders, these are your malicious actors who intentionally damage your system and steal some information, and also some financial gain also will be taken by the intruders. Types of attack risks: information threats and service threats. So information threats, the data is being modified and who is lacking the proper authorization, so that they will be altering the sensitive records. Whereas in the service threats, the legitimate users from accessing system data or resources, disrupting normal operations and availability. So in the information threats, only the damage occurs to the information, whereas in the service threat, the normal operations gets disrupted. You may not be able to log in into your email, and you may not be able to send your email. All this will happen in your service threats. Coming to the network security model. So here we were just discussing till now about the key terms. What is encryption, what is decryption, who is sender, who is receiver, what is plain text, what is ciphertext, and what are the attacks, what are the active attacks, passive attack. Coming to the network security model, here we have a sender and a receiver. Sender wants to send a message to the receiver. So how the sender will send a message to the receiver? He uses a key and he will secure the message by encrypting the message with that key, and then he will send it into the information channel. Now the receiver will receive the secured message, and the receiver will decrypt this secure message using a secret key. This complete process is your network security model. Now here, this information channel is being taken care by the trusted third party. And we have the other side, opponents also. Opponents means the attackers who want to disrupt or interrupt this information channel. This is the network security model, where the sender wants to send a message to the receiver. Sender will encrypt the message using a secret key, and he will be sending into the information channel. The receiver will receive a message, then he will be decrypting the message using the same secret key, and then he will be converting the message into a readable text, and he will be reading the message. Coming to the types of cryptography. Here we have two types, symmetric key cryptography and asymmetric key cryptography. In the symmetric key cryptography, only one secret key is used in both the encryption and decryption. Whereas in the asymmetric key cryptography, we have two types of keys, public key and private key. Public key is used for encryption and private key is used for decryption. So in the symmetric key cryptography, sender wants to send a message to the receiver. So a single key will be there. That single key will be shared between the sender as well as the receiver, and then both will be encrypting and decrypting using that single key, and they will be communicating each other securely. And in the asymmetric key cryptography, sender will encrypt the message using the public key and the receiver will decrypt the message using the private key. This is called as asymmetric key pair. So, in the symmetric key cryptography, it is very fast processing, whereas it is ideal for the bulk data. In the asymmetric key cryptography, it will be having some mathematical complexity. And the examples of the symmetric key cryptography are your AES, DES, Blowfish algorithms, whereas in the asymmetric key cryptography, RSA, ECC, and Diffie-Hellman protocols are the examples. One major point we need to remember in the symmetric and asymmetric key cryptographies are symmetric key cryptography uses only one key for the encryption, whereas the asymmetric key cryptography uses two keys, one for the encryption, the other for the decryption. Encryption concept uses the public key and the decryption concept uses the private. Coming to the cyber attacks. So, we have many cyber attacks. I have just listed few of them. Man-in-the-middle attack, phishing, brute force and dictionary, ransomware, DDoS and SQL injection. What is man-in-the-middle attack? A man will be sitting in the middle of the network while the sender is sending a message and a receiver will be receiving a message. So here, the integrity of the system will be affected, authentication will be affected, authorization will be affected. So how can a man-in-the-middle attack can be explained with a real-time example? Suppose you lose a public Wi-Fi in some airport or a cafe. Now you will open your email and you will enter your username and the password. The attacker also will be using the same public Wi-Fi and he will be accessing your username and the password, and he will be using later on for reading your emails, for payments, whatever. Coming to the phishing attack. This phishing attack is you will be receiving, example is like impersonating like the legitimate user. So here you will receive some email which is as if it is received from a trusted organization, maybe a banking application or your banking or whatever. So how, suppose the same example you can consider, to update the KYC, you have received a mail from the bank. So you will open your mail and you will go through the link by entering your username, password, OTPs and all those. Now this complete page will be under the attacker's attacker. So attacker can see everything and use your username and password. That is your phishing. So this will affect the identity, that is your authorization. Coming to the brute force and dictionary. Here we use some software tools and generate multiple passwords with all the combinations. So never ever keep a simple passwords like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, all those things. Always use a strong password. And this automated password guessing attempts will be using the combinations and the common words. In order to crack your Gmail or in order to crack your Instagram or whatever, the attacker will use the brute force by trying all the multiple combinations and the possible combinations. So always follow the password framing strategies, that it should be complex and it should contain more than 12 characters, all the combinations of capital letters, small letters, symbols, everything should be there in your password, then only it will be strong enough. Coming to the ransomware. This is a malicious software where it will encrypt the data and demands the payment for decryption. So you can consider the example as your hospital ransomware attack. The attacker will block your hospital system so that you can't process the billing and you can't see the surgery schedules, you can't access the patient reports. Then it will demand the hospital management to pay maybe 50 lakhs like that in a cryptocurrency or in the Bitcoin. Then only we will allow you to access your system. This type of attack is your ransomware. Coming to the distributed denial of the service, it will flood the system with the network traffic. More number of requests will be entering into your network and your network will be flooded with the requests, and finally your server will crash or it will shut down. As the e-commerce website which I have told already, some festival sale is going on, then the competitors of your e-commerce website will be using this distributed denial of service, and they will use thousands of millions of systems and they will send requests all to your website. Then your website will slow down, will crash, will not allow the customers to see the content, place the order, process the payment. Finally, your entire festival sale will cause a huge damage, huge financial loss. Coming to the SQL injection. So here the malicious code is being injected into the database queries to manipulate the data. Maybe you can't insert a table or the properties of the table will be changed. So all those related to the SQL database, the code will be injected. Coming to the cryptography in the emerging technologies. So we have blockchain and cryptocurrencies, quantum resistant cryptography, AML for cryptanalysis, zero trust architectures, confidential computing, and IoT device security. These are the emerging technologies which uses the concept of cryptography. Blockchain and cryptocurrencies. Here we will be having a ledger where each and every transaction will be stored in your system instead of a server. And here we uses the concept of digital signatures, caching, AES, algorithms, all these to protect each and every transaction and to maintain the past records. Zero trust architectures. You can't trust any architecture or any model without authorization, authentication. Each and every service which you are using should be authenticated, authorized, then only you can enter into your system and work on your system. And then quantum resistant cryptography. We have some post-quantum algorithms which are defending against the future threats. Confidential computing. Here we have a hardware-based protection for the data in an active use. AML for cryptanalysis. We use some machine learning algorithms to identify the threats. Then humans, machine learning algorithm will identify the threats easily, and we use the concept of automated attack detection and threat intelligence in AML for cryptanalysis. IoT device security. This is your lightweight encryption for connected device ecosystems. Nowadays we have a smart homes, smart connectors. Everywhere we use the concept of IoT device security. Sensor-based devices are there. For everywhere we need the security, we need the authentication, we need the authorization. So, this is about the overview of the foundation of the cryptography and the attacks and the defensive strategies. Basically, cryptography is needed everywhere, and cryptography is used in all the emerging technologies like the blockchain, quantum resistant cryptography, AML for cryptanalysis. Thank you.